Are you and I into reptiles for the right reasons? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be explaining just what I mean by that. Stick around. My name is Nick Pulaski. Growing up, I have always had a passion for wildlife, and with that passion, along with my passion of filmmaking, I get taken on some amazing adventures creating wildlife content, getting up close with a variety of incredible animals. So come follow along as I pursue my goals of educating, inspiring, exploring, and conserving wildlife, all while having fun, seeing the beauty in our natural world. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me here today. So, again, I'm going to reiterate this question. Are you and I into reptiles for the right reasons? And what exactly does that mean? I think a lot of people in this industry, if you've been kind of watching closely, especially recently with the times that we're in right now, a lot of people are either getting out of reptiles completely or really downsizing to specific animals that they're trying to work with. It's a very interesting time that we're in, and it's not something that's new in the industry. This has happened in the past as well, but it's definitely something very interesting to see what people are essentially doing and who's staying in and who's going out. And this video isn't something where I'm calling a specific person out or naming names or anything like that, so don't think you're gonna get some dirt here. I'm more so just reaching out to everyone, including myself, and just kind of really thinking about that question. Why exactly do we do what we do in keeping reptiles? Why exactly do we do this? I think in some way or another, you have to at least love these animals to actually have a collection like some of us do. It's not just one of those things where it's just like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna go out and buy snakes even though I hate snakes. You know, it's not going to do those kind of things. You don't see people doing that necessarily. There is definitely some sort of interest that every single person has with these animals and connection that keeps them drawn to these animals. A lot of people that are newer to the industry over the years, I have always seen people see the price of some of these animals and they're like, oh my gosh, this is like a get-rich-quick scheme. And they will buy all sorts of animals, they'll invest a whole bunch, and then they'll quickly find out that it is definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme because there is a lot of work that is involved with these guys. You should see my rat bill. It is quite expensive with all these animals, you know? And I pay the price because I love working with what I work with. And I think that is the most important thing that everyone should kind of take away from this video is work with animals that you love. Don't worry about it and don't assume it as a get-rich-quick scheme because that is not the case and definitely not what you want to be looking at these animals for. These are living, breathing animals that are amazing in their own individual rights. And yes, I'd be lying, especially as someone that breeds these animals, that there is also some monetary value to these guys for sure. But you should not just be going out and seeking animals in the hopes of getting rich off of these animals because market values change no matter what. Supply and demand always changes. And really, you're not going to get an enjoyment out of it at the end of the day. You know, if you're not working with animals that you specifically want to work with. That is going to be the key thing. I mean, with ball pythons, that's why I have a ball python, my hypo NJP banana here, is I want to work with genetics that I have interest in. I love biology, I love working with genetics and learning about genetics as well, but I love working with combinations that I think are very intriguing. And this girl right here is like a highlighter and has some beautiful oranges and yellows in her as well, and just overall a really cool snake. Obviously too, you guys know I'm huge into pied stuff, so a lot of the stuff that I'm breeding and working on project-wise is all going to have in one sort of way or another pied combinations in it. So that's always what I'm aspiring to do, is doing those building blocks, not really trying to rush into projects or anything like that. Trust me, if I was rushing into projects, I would have been breeding like 6-7 years ago. That just wasn't a feasible thing for me, and it wasn't right for the well-being of the animals, taking care of that load of a collection at the time. There you have it with that, you know? I mean, it's all about just time and patience and just enjoying your animals at the end of the day. I think that's one of the things that people just need to worry about more, is just enjoying your animals, making sure that you are keeping them well and your collection is nice and healthy, no matter what size collection you have and how many animals you have, making sure and really just examining all your animals and just enjoying what you're working with. You know, it's not about keeping as many animals as you can. It's not about working with as many species as you can. I think it's obviously better if you're working with a more smaller niche collection of specific species that you personally want to work with. And as we're talking about other species, let me pull out another species that actually someone was asking about in a couple videos ago, and I will continue this video with that species. Right here is one of my Stimson's pythons. This is my male right here, and this little guy is just a trip. I mean, I love the Anteracia species for sure, and I'm so stoked when I finally got into these guys because they are just a really cool species of snake, that's for sure. And I'm so excited that I've been able to start breeding these guys, and we're going to be updating about these guys in a coming video as well too, so stick around for that, and I'll be updating the progress of breeding these guys because it is going to be a really exciting thing. This male has been a powerhouse all year, but kind of going back to the topic at hand here, this is one of those species that I've always had a fascination with. You know, I mean, a lot of Australian species I have a fascination with for sure, and this was definitely one on the bucket list to keep and work with for sure. And it's not even necessarily about breeding these guys. I mean, yes, I wanted to work with these guys and I wanted to learn about breeding these guys, but not every species that I work with is necessarily ones that I want to necessarily breed. You know, there's some that I just want to keep just to keep. But the only reason necessarily that I'm breeding these guys is because I think they are super underrated, and I really want people to expand their horizons. I wanted to expose people more with species like this right here, where I give my 100% stamp of approval that these are a really cool, underrated snake for sure. They just don't get shown off enough. I mean, they are just truly incredible, very, very cool, very curious species of snake as well. And I mean, this is an adult, so a very manageable snake as well too. And I think that's basically why I want to breed and work with these guys, is because of how underrated they are. And I think truly that these guys would make fantastic pets for so many people that do get into certain species of snakes, and they're like, you know what, I think I've bitten off more than I could chew at the end of the day. And I think they truly regret their decision, where they could have had something that's a lot smaller and a lot more manageable, but still a really cool, rewarding species to keep at the end of the day. And that's what I love, you know. Giving back to the community is another big thing, and that's kind of how I got into reptiles in a broader scheme at the end of the day as well, is through educational programs and through exposure to other people, educating me about certain animals, educating me on how to work with certain animals and take care of certain animals. I just want to do the same thing at the end of the day for people and generations to come. As people are liquidating their collections and getting out of a lot of different things, I don't necessarily fault these people for doing so. I'm actually kind of happy that it's happening, because it's going to get rid of and wean out people that maybe necessarily weren't cut out for working with animals in the first place, you know, and it's going to keep people around more often than not, people that are more dedicated to working with their animals and are better keepers at the end of the day as well too, which is truly important as well. Just people that are focusing on the core elements of why they personally got into animals as well too. Not everyone got into reptiles for the interest of money, you know. It's more so you had the interest from when you were a kid and you were going out in the forest and you were catching garter snakes and rat snakes and whatever else, turtles and so on and so forth. You know, it's more so what you can do with the animals beyond just making a living, because I will tell you, not many people can make a living off of reptiles, you know, full-time I should say, in a way. These are just kind of like a hobby kind of thing for a lot of people, myself included. You know, I'm not making a living off of these guys whatsoever. That's totally okay, you know. I'm just about working with these animals because I love what I do with these animals, you know. I wouldn't have invested so much into these guys if I didn't. And I'm always constantly trying to improve and evolve, and I think that's another big characteristic as well too for a lot of people, is nothing in this industry stays stagnant. You know, if you're staying stagnant, truthfully, you're going to be left behind, because it's all about constantly new and updating research about these animals, about the care, about their well-being that we're constantly learning about, and just how the growth of evolution of development in terms of products that are out there to work with these animals and better keep these animals. That's what's important as well too. So always constantly updating and reinvigorating your setups is also a key thing, and how you keep these animals, how you work with these animals, food items for these animals, so on and so forth. It's always constantly updating. So always redoing and reevaluating your situation with your animals and the husbandry of these animals is also something to always keep in mind as well. But I also want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you guys feel about this topic and opinions. Why did you personally get into reptiles, and what your opinion is on my opinion as well too. I would love to hear those things down below. And I would also love to hear what your favorite things are that you personally keep as well. I would love to hear those things as well too. So many things that throughout the years I have grown to come infatuated with just from growing into this industry and learning about new and exciting things that are out there. You know, I'm always blown away every single time, and I'm always meeting incredible people out there as well that have been inspirations for me, that's for sure, in doing things that they are doing and kind of building and learning and growing from them as well too, and bouncing off ideas, and hopefully I can give some ideas to them as well too. But I think that's also a really rewarding aspect as well, is doing those types of things. So there it is, guys. I was just listening to certain videos and I was hearing this topic come up a lot, and a lot of people saying that they are getting out of the hobby, or just listening to people talk about like COVID-19 breeders and stuff like that. There's people who really just work in here for a get rich quick kind of scheme, and I just kind of wanted to hear your opinions on these types of things. So I just wanted to lay down personally why I'm personally into this industry, and wondering from you guys too why you guys are personally into the reptile world as well. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you guys could do me a few favors, if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it, as well as hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Like I said, we're going to be updating the Simpsons pythons a little bit more next video for sure in the reptile room update video, so definitely stay tuned for that. We have some exciting news with those types of things, so fingers crossed if everything continues to go as well. I think you kind of know what I'm hinting at right now though, so definitely stay tuned for that video, as well as definitely check us out on our social media as well too. Thank you guys as always for tuning in, truly means the world to me, and until next time, we will see you guys soon. Take care.